guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the powder coating oven. So today what we're going to do is we're going to build the racks and get them in there. So what we're going to be doing is using a 3/4 inch tube, square tube. Let me move you over here. I got the heater on, so it's a little chilly here in Canada today. So I've got them already marked up. It is 16 gauge, so we don't want them too heavy, and we're going to put an expandable grate on top. Let me get my leaf bag, as I use those often here. Dual purpose, pick up leaves and good writing material and for painting. So our grate is going to be 43 inches long by 21.5 inch deep. We're going to use the 3/4 inch piping. So with the depth wise, we're going to take off 1.5 inches, bringing the inside piece to 21.5. And I'll show you guys exactly how I'm going to do that. So let me get these cut up, and I'll get them lined up, and I'll get this camera back on a tripod, and let's build something. Okay guys, so I got these already marked up. So the game plan is to run them through here, we'll cut them, and then I'll show you how I'm going to lay them out. Try to go right on the line. Nice clean cut. That's one. Let's bring this puppy back up. Now with I guess the rack itself, you want it a little bit smaller. You don't want it to be too tight when you're sliding it in. You want to have a little bit of play on it. You'll find that it'll be easier to remove, especially when you have product on it or you have weight hanging from it. Have I told you guys how much I enjoy using this thing? It's paid for itself 10 times over. I have a video on it in my tool time list. You guys check it out. It's well worth the money. All right, so we'll leave that there for reference. We're going to move this back. I need that sauce though. Okay, so hoping you guys still can see. So these are of course, the longer sections of the oven, right, that are going to slide in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a corner, cap corner. I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back 3/4 of an inch, and that's going to fit in, and it's going to cap off that other pipe, okay? And then I'm going to do the same on this one, and that's going to cap that off. So actually we can do it two different ways. Actually we'll do it that way, 3/4, 3/4, or we can do it from the outside. Yeah, you can do it from the inside, it's fine. We'll do it that way. It'll make it slightly shorter, but that's okay. We could do that. All right, so let's measure the pipe. You know it's 3/4, right? So I'm just gonna set up my square like so. I'll come from this side so hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to mark them. And I guess we'll do this with the depth wheel. I don't know why I call that. Anyway, I think everybody does these days. There's always these freaked out videos on using the grinder. Cut blade. I guess those are the chances everybody takes, right? Including myself. Try to wear safety glasses when you're using it, right? Okay. So let's get my safety glasses on and we'll cut those. And I'll show you what I mean by how I want to put them together. Okay, let's just do a quick test fit before I continue cutting. Just make sure they're looking good. And I think they are. And you guys can kind of get an idea of how I'm actually going to put that together. I cut two of those. Okay. There we go. So that's how that's going to go. And we're at 43. We should be good. It should be about 22, 21. It's 21 3/4. Oh, we're good. We'll have a little bit of a lift there, but I'm good with that. Looking good. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut the rest of them and get them all set up. This way we were making 2 racks. And then we're going to cut a piece that goes right in the dead center. And we'll cut that. But let's get these all cut and straightened out. Then we'll prep them with the wheel, make sure everything is clean. Then we'll get the welder on. In here so we can turn this thing off just to get rid of the little bit of that chill. Okay, so let's set up one and let's see how she goes. Okay guys, let's set up this frame. I've got all my pieces ready to rock and roll. They butt in just like that. Perfect. What I'll do is I'll use my magnets again. Get them in there nice and tight. Pretty good. Get this one. In here. Nice. Nice. Okay, so let's see if we're square. Yeah. Same measurement is, yeah, we're bang on, guys. Okay, so with this stuff, again, you got to be real careful when you're tacking into it, because it is only 16 gauge. You will blow through it. I have multiple times, but you know, you live and learn. I got her turned down, so we should be okay. We'll tack it up and then do the weld. So let's get the welder back on and hooked up to this piece of metal. Good. We should be. Yeah. All right. Welder. So what we're going to do is flip this thing over and we'll do the other side. Magnets should stay in place. And we're good. We'll weld the other side. And then we'll do the end pieces. So let's weld the end seam here. I'm going to fix that weld on the top. Okay guys, we're going to move this over. And see what we got going on. We've got to still cut a bar for the middle of this. We got one on the top. See how this fits here? Nice. So what I'm going to do is, it's still pretty hot, we're going to clamp this down. When we weld the bottom, when we weld the middle bar, it should straighten out. We'll do the same from the top. But that's where she's at. So let's clamp that into place. nice and tight. So by having her clamped down like this, when I weld the middle one, it should balance itself out with the heat. What happens, if I'm up a little high on this side, as you can see, what sometimes I will do is go off dead center and put a bead, a welding bead. And what will happen is it'll expand, and this will go down and then slowly come back up, and that will lower itself down. Most of the time when I do these racks, if I do it this way, I'm usually golden. Usually. There's always a first. So I did all my measurements already, so we're going to measure 21 and a half. 21 and a half is dead center of this guy. 21 and a half is dead center. What I'm not happy about is the way it's sitting in there right now. I want it to be somewhat. That's better. At least I know that. We'll see somewhat on the oven. Okay. So we're going to get a piece that's going to go in the middle of that. We'll worry about the top one once I get this one done. I will cut it, weld it in the oven, and let it cool. And hopefully she'll straighten out. If not, we'll play around and see what we can do. A lot of the times what ends up happening for me is once I put the grid on top and start tacking it, it has a tendency to straighten out. So sometimes I get lucky, sometimes I don't. All right, let's measure out this one. Should be roughly about the same. Yep. Roughly about the same. Perfect. All right, so midway was 21 and a half. Let's mark 21 and a half. And let's get a couple of clamps for this guy. In there. Doesn't have to be extremely tight. That's not enough. One. Got one. One more. All right, we're gonna mark this side. Okay, let's just throw a square on that. Okay. This piece fits, so we're going to clean it up a bit. Remove that grinder. Midway. Two magnets. All right. Okay guys, I'm hoping you guys can still see that. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to tack that in and we'll let it cool and we'll do the same process as we did before. We should be good. We'll pack it first. Maybe not. I'm going to bring the smolder over a bit. There we go. Move those magnets out of there. Move it down. Not a good spot to blow through, but that's okay. We'll let her cool, then we shall take a look. So I think those racks are going to be perfect. So, I mean, you can hang stuff here, smaller parts, slightly larger parts. You can remove this completely and hang longer parts. You can remove both racks, hang it off the hanger from the top. There's so many different ways of doing it. I mean, you can even remove this, put a longer part on the hanger, and then hang some stuff off the bottom rack. There's lots of different variations on how you can use those double racks. But we'll let that cool for a minute. You can see that it's still smoking. So we'll let her cool, and hopefully she'll straighten out a little bit. And then we'll pull it out, and then we'll grind her down, clean it. We'll hit the other side like I did that one, and throw it back in. But we want it to cool. We want it to cool in place. And this should be better too now. And then we'll get the top on. We'll get the grate on. Very happy with that. Nice setup. All right, so we're got our expandable grate. I'll show you guys what that's all about. So what I like to do with this stuff kind of get it where I want it to be. Just like so. And I'll tack it all the way around. So all the corners on that side also. Just like that. Once I got those corners tacked and in here and all in here, then I'll do is I'll get the death wheel and I'll cut them out and then finish tacking the outside line. And that usually works out quite nicely. So we'll do the same thing. Let's give it a whirl and see the outcome. Just stop it from moving. Nice. Pretty good. Okay guys, so you see I got the grate on. So what I'm doing is I cornered it off and I started tacking. So I'm going to tack all the way down, all the way around the excess. Once it's completely tacked in, then I'll cut it. Then I'll go with a grinder, grind off the corners and make sure if there's anything that I want to continue to tack, I will. And she'll hold up beautifully. So the idea is to get this to be pretty strong and welded on quite a bit. You don't want it to ever pop off when you're, you got stuff in the oven. So it's important that it's tacked in very well. So what we'll do is we'll weld it and I'll show you. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with the death wheel. That up nice. Okay, so let's the other side I already welded. So let's get the death wheel out. Nice. We'll cut that with the death wheel. Let me put a pair of safety glasses on. Guys, with this expendable grate, it loves ripping apart flat discs. So be real careful. Make sure you're wearing safety protection when you're cutting. Where's mine? You know what? Let me throw a pair of gloves on. going to grind up the sides and try to get it to smoothen out so it's not a sharp edge. I still got a little bit of a bow, but not bad. There she go, guys. What I'll do is I'll hit it again and see if I get it to come up a little bit more. But she came up a bit. What I'll do is I'll flip it over and I'll add some weight to it and see if that helps. But not bad. So we're going to move on to the next step. We've got our fire retardant insulation and we've got the oven in a good spot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the control panel, disconnect it and take it off so we can insulate in behind. If you guys remembered from the last video, I have to wire shield this because I didn't have the heat protectant on that. I'm going to do that. I also off camera welded a piece of angle iron here, and the idea is that I need a mount. So let me grab that mount and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because what will happen is if somebody pulls on that wire or trips on it, it'll rip it right out of the box. Let's see if I can move it down. So something like that, okay? Just to hold it in tight so it doesn't move. Let me move around to the other side. So let me come around here. So what I've gone ahead and done here is put in the extra hinge. I gave them a shot of high heat paint from the rattle can. They were completely welded in. I'll show you from the front view. Looking pretty good. So we're going to disconnect. I'm going to disconnect whatever's coming into the box from the actual box itself. I won't completely disarm or disconnect everything, but I'm going to have to do quite a bit here. So let me get this stuff off, and then we will get it back on. What we're going to do is mark these. So let me grab a marker, a paint marker, so I can mark that. So we'll do, let's do gold. So I haven't used gold on that yet. So let's see how that works out. Make sure you guys are following me there. Gold, gold, and gold. So these lines are going to have to be trimmed down. I did say that when I did it before I did the test run. I always I'd rather redo the connections and make sure everything's working perfectly before I go ahead and permanently mount it. I knew I'd have to take it off anyway because of the insulation. So, you know, yeah, it's more work, definitely. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's worth it because at the end, at least I know everything's working properly. And then we'll clean up all the wiring once I've completed everything. And I got gold on here, right? I do, and I do. So that's good. Just so I remember what's where and I don't have to put too much thought process into it. So that one's disconnected. This one, these are all marked also. I had marked them prior. That's disconnected. That's disconnected. We're going to have to disconnect this. And do I have that marked? Let's just mark it this way I don't have to worry about it. We'll grab the red. There we go. And just slide that out. That's the thermocoupler. It's disconnected. Okay. Fan I'm not too worried about. That I'm not too worried about. And 1, 2, and 3 got to come out. Then we can get this box off. 1, 2. I think we're off to the races. One more. All right. Excuse me. And then we have that's on there. So whatever's coming into the box from the oven is now completely disconnected. I don't have to worry about it. So we can dismount this and get it right off. So what we still have a couple of things we have to do with this box, and I'm going to show you what the game plan is. I found the cardboard. Okay, so this is the same outlet that I have on the box. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I think it is in comparison to everything else, and we're just going to draw it out on this piece of cardboard, and then we're going to cut that out. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, half decent would be nice. And of course it's got to be the same dimension, right? And I'll explain to you why in a second. You want to be able to make sure that goes through there no problem, and it does. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move this over, and we're going to push that through that. Now that the wire's on there, it's heavy. Just to kind of get an idea of where I'm at. Okay. Just like that. And then we're going to draw this out. Now the drawing doesn't have to be perfect, but just good idea where I'm at. Now we're going to make our marks and where our screw holes are. I can find the other one. Of course, everything fell to that corner. There it is. I think we're good. Okay, so now we'll cut that out. So I don't want to damage this box, so I'm going to move this out of the way. I've got a spot here on my other bench. More or less where they are. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So let's cut this out. The outside of the skin. So there she is. So I got that wire off, and I cut them even. I had to cut the ends off because I wouldn't be able to get them on there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fish this wire through. And of course it's going to be a slight challenge, as everything is. And we'll just push this through. I got both of them in there, okay guys? And we're going to leave a little bit of excess because we got to make tail ends for it to go around the light housing on the top. . Come on now. Where are you? I can't see you. There you go. There we go, guys. And she's ready to be put back on that light and pushed through. You see that? Awesome. All right, let's plug this back in. And we have to actually insulate. We still have to insulate around this light with that fire stop. There we go, guys. Wow, that was a little bit of a challenge. Nothing goes as smooth as planned. We got it in there though. And that's going this way. Like that. We want a little bit of play there, we got. And of course, once we get the insulation in, we can estimate where we need to be. And this tape's got to come off. There we go. So what I most likely will do is insulate this area first, get it in place. We'll do this section here. We'll get this all figured out, make sure the wire is enough. And I got enough wire here to pull back and forth. And then we'll move on to the next. This can be pulled up a bit because it's a little long. And then that all can be trimmed up after. Right? So we're good. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut some of the fire retardant and put it around the light on the top. I'm going to put a little bit around this hole here, just so we don't have any sharp edges. And then we should be good to go. Let me get some. So again, guys, is this pad here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut some strips just to go around the light housing. And then I got to cut a piece to go around the hole there that I got at the top, so there's no sharp edges. Okay guys, so we got a piece cut. Let's get that in there. We'll just try to tuck it in as tightly as we can. And a little bit of that foam insulation behind there, we're just going to push that out of the way. Make sure that's in there. And we're pretty good there. Okay, so let's cut the piece to go in here. So what I do is I just basically measure it and cut it and push it into place. So, and then we'll move along. So this one is about 6.5 inches. So let's do a little bit bigger. Kind of eyeball it at 7. That foam there. Just peel some of that back. That's awesome. Now in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some small pieces. I'm just going to Oh, that's what I forgot to do. We got to make sure we run this through here first. Or else we'll have issues later. That wouldn't have been good. There we go. No big deal. And then we're going to put that right in behind. Just make sure we... There we go. I've got some small pieces we'll throw in there. So guys, there you go. She's completely insulated. I'll get you all the way around here. Take a look. And of course the other side also. So the only thing we haven't insulated right now is the actual top. And that's okay, because we want to do that once we have the sides on. And once we get the sides on, then we'll lightly pack the top. I'll have to silicone around that 2x2 and the valance that we put in. And that's all she wrote. I don't want these to get too long, so I'm going to call it here. Next step, we're going to definitely sheet the outside and put the skin on. And then get a cap done on the top. And put her all back together. And then, of course, paint it. Guys, if you watched to this point, I really do appreciate it. You know, throw a like, subscribe. Will help me out tremendously. Thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.